constituted by leadership. Because if you serve in a structure of the ANC, you are a leader, isn't it? If you serve in a structure, you are a leader. And what I've just picked up now is that almost everybody who's inside here, you belong to a branch executive committee. So that's the reason we must see a high level of discipline here in this conference. Because we are all leaders here. We are serving in ANC structures. We are current leaders who are serving in structures. So can you give yourselves a nice round of applause for... Let me also take this opportunity to greet the leadership of the leagues. All our leagues are fully constituted. Veterans League, fully constituted. It's not an interim structure. Youth League, fully constituted, not an interim structure. The Women's League, fully constituted, not an interim structure. So we Seperepere. That's the advantage that we have as the province. Let me also greet the leaders of the leagues who are here. We received the different messages of support, and we are very grateful for the positive input that we received from our league, from the ANC leagues. Leadership of the Progressive Youth Alliance, YCL is here, COSAS and SASCO. And also let me greet our faith-based leaders. I see Pastor Des is not here, but comrades who are serving with Pastor Des in the chaplaincy are here. Can we ask them to rise so that we give them a nice round of applause? The chaplaincy is doing a very important work for us within the religious communities. Very important work. Because that's one sector that is very critical towards building the movement. I think the provincial chair of the Veterans League actually alluded to this issue, that our midwife is the Wesleyan Church in Mangaung. That's where our umbilical cord of the ANC is. It's in a churchyard. It's in a churchyard. And so our relationship with the religious community, we should strive to strengthen it at all times. And I think this time around, we are blessed with a very active chaplaincy in the movement. Extremely active. They occupy the space when we've got whatever events, they are always present to hoist the flag of the movement very high. I'm told also we've got our traditional leaders from Contra Lesa who are here to represent the traditional communities. Can we also give them a round of applause? And we are very grateful on your presence. So I'm not going to ask traditional leaders to rise so that we give them a round of applause. I was reprimanded by Deputy President Mabuza. So we had an event in JTG, and I wanted a big event, about 10,000 people. So I wanted people to see their leaders. So I said, can I just ask the traditional leaders to rise so that your constituencies can see you? Oh, I got reprimanded there. It was as if I can hide under the table. How can a commoner ask traditional leaders to rise? It's only a traditional leader that can ask traditional leaders to rise. But they did rise. They did rise. And after that, they came to me and said, no, from today, we are going to make you a chief, so that in other events, you can ask us to rise. So I'm Chief Zamani Saul. I've got some traditional blood in me. Branch delegates, can you also give yourselves a nice round of applause? Comrade Chair, let me start by welcoming all of you to this 10th Provincial Conference of the ANC in the Northern Cape, Francis Bart region. Since 2004, when the Provincial Conference resolved to rotate provincial conferences This is the first provincial conference to be hosted by Francis Bard region. We are happy to note that many regions in the province have adopted a similar practice of rotating regional conferences. Consequently, the 2008 6th Provincial Conference was at Moshaweng, John Taulo Gaetsewe region. I'm certain, comrades, those who were there in Moshaweng in 2008, you don't want to remember that conference. You don't want to remember that conference. That was the ugliest conference of the ANC in the Northern Cape, which we hosted in JTG in 2008. The 2012 7th Provincial Conference was at Uppington, ZF Mkawu region. The 2017 8th Provincial Conference was at Colesburg, Pixley-Kaseme region. The 2021 9th Provincial Conference was in Springbok, Namakwa region, and now we are back in Kimberley, Francis Bard region. Convening of conferences is not an unfamiliar occasion in the life of the ANC, as we are expected to convene such gatherings every 4 years as provinces, every 3 years for regions, and every 2 years for branches. We agreed as the Provincial Executive Committee that this 10th Provincial Conference should serve 3 objectives. First, it should serve as a platform to consolidate unity and renewal of the ANC in the province. Secondly, it must serve as a platform to prepare for the mid-term National General Council to take place in July. Comrade Phoebe corrected this. He said the National General Council will take place in December this year. And lastly, to serve as a platform for 2026 local government elections campaign. Comrade Deputy Chair, this provincial conference is preceded by more than 200 BJMs and 5 regional conferences. Almost all the nomination BJMs took place smoothly. For this, we are grateful to our members, branch executive committees, and the regional executive committees. Therefore, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate all the newly elected BEC members and REC members. Comrade Deputy Chair, we could convene this 10th Provincial Conference on a time during our term of office, because the ANC in our province is rock solid, and we also have a very focused PEC. Our PEC has a laser focus and is not easily distracted. Each of these serving PEC members appreciate the importance of hard work, unity, and collective leadership. Up front, let me inform the delegates that I'm presenting this political report on behalf of the PEC that is united and is rock solid. It is sad to report that from this PEC collective, we only lost one comrade, Comrade Kole Kangwe. Comrade Deputy Chairperson, 2025 is a very definitive year in the life of the ANC. Hence, this captivating theme for this provincial conference, the year of renewal, to make the ANC more effective instrument of the people to achieve the vision of the Freedom Charter. The people shall govern, the people shall share in the country's wealth. This is a captivating call to action that calls upon us to urgently intensify our work to renew the movement of Dube, Makgato, Mahabane, Gumede, Uma, Moroka, Luthuli, Tambo, Mandela, Mbeki, and one lost, and Ramaphosa. Central to the call to renew our movement is to make it an effective instrument in the hands of the people and achieve our historic mission. That historic mission is enveloped in the Freedom Charter as was adopted on the 26th of June 1955 by the Congress of the People in Kliptown. The Congress of the People took place in the wake of the Defiance Campaign. This 10th Provincial Conference, more than any other conference, has historical significance, as this is the same year that we are commemorating and celebrating the 70th anniversary of the Freedom Charter. In this 10th Provincial Conference, we must exhibit the same revolutionary vigor and eagerness that defined the attitude and the mood of the more than 3,000 ordinary masses that gathered at that historic event, with a historic exclamation that reads, "We, people, pledge ourselves to strive together, sparing neither strength nor courage, until the democratic changes here set out have been won." After succinct articulation of the 10 clauses of freedoms, the Freedom Charter closes with a clarion call that these freedoms we will fight for, side by side, throughout our lives until we have won our liberty. This call had a catalytic impact on how the liberation struggle unfolded in the country. This is a call which our forebears and past generations never betrayed. They laid down their lives, sparing neither strength nor courage for this freedom we enjoy today. They never betrayed the call to action, to fight side by side until freedom is won. Now this generation of members and leaders, which is gathered here today, is heavily indebted to the founders of the ANC and these freedom fighters. During this critical year, we need to be unequivocal in our call for renewal of our movement. As the 1955 generation, we must in unison declare that we pledge ourselves to strive together, sparing neither strength nor courage for the renewal of our organization. This 10th Provincial Conference must make it abundantly clear to everyone that we pledge ourselves to thrive together, sparing neither strength nor courage to renew our movement and close space for opportunists, careerists, factionalists, and money lovers. The former President, Thabo Mbeki, befittingly describes these members and leaders within our ranks who are opportunists, who are careerists, who are factionalists, and money lovers as imigodoi. Imigodoi, comrades, in English, it's scavengers. In Afrikaans, as asdiere. In Setswana, ke batlhotlhomisi. Those are the scavengers that batlhotlhomisi, which our former president, Makanyan, which our former president asked us to close space for within the movement. These are members and leaders whose sole purpose is to use ANC membership for self-enrichment. They use ANC membership to ditch patronage to all the interest of friends and family members. For imigodoi, ANC membership is a ticket to riches. It is not about serving the people and working hard to build and strengthen the movement. In the message of our late President, Chief Albert Luthuli, to the Congress of the People in 1955, which was presented by Dr. Arthur Little on his behalf, Chief Albert Luthuli asserts that, I don't know whether comrades know that Dr. Arthur Little is from the Northern Cape. He was the Treasurer General of the ANC then, when he presented the message on behalf of Chief Albert Luthuli. So that's the last serving member of the ANC from the Northern Cape who was in the top 5, top 6, or top 7 in the National Executive Committee. It was Dr. Atali Tele in the 1950s. He was the national treasurer of the ANC. This is what President Chief Albert Luthuli says in his message. It's time to turn the tide against the fascist apartheid government. The call from this 10th Provincial Conference should be to turn the tide against the Mikotoi that are holding back our movement and the prosecution of the National Democratic Revolution. As part of the renewal program, we must pledge to spare neither strength nor energy to flush out of our ranks Imikotoi who adorn our black, green, and gold colors. It does not matter where they are located in the hierarchy of the movement. So this conference must declare loud that the ANC is a living heritage of all the people of this country, and no individual has a right to seek to destroy it. Comrade Chair, 2025 is just a year after we lost our electoral majority at national, in the province, and in 12 municipalities in our province. This conference must deeply reflect on this strategic setback and develop a program to reverse these losses as we move forward. The PEC Collective is very optimistic that we can address the organizational and governance challenges that led to the shedding of votes by ANC in the province. These challenges that we are confronted with, both organizational challenges and as well as governance challenges, are not insurmountable. To give a proper context to this report, it is important to make brief reflection on the work we started from the 8th Provincial Conference that took place in Colesberg in 2017. Doing this is very important because embarking on a work to build the organization is not a sprint, but a marathon. In summing up the resolutions of the 8th Provincial Conference, when we were in Colesberg in 2017, the PEC coined the phrase, 3 dangers and 4 imperatives. The 3 dangers are the 3 things that the PEC agreed to avoid at all costs in its work to build the ANC in the province. 1, we agreed that we need to avoid divisions in how we behave and conduct ourselves. Number 2, we said we need to avoid to embark on conduct that continues to harm the image of the organization. And number 3, we said as the PEC that we need to put programs in place to close this vast socio-economic gap which is there in the province. The 4 imperatives were the 4 issues that the PEC committed to immediately work towards. The 4 imperatives identified then by the PEC were building unity, which is what took most of our time. And number 2, strengthening the political interface between the ANC and the provincial government. Number 3, we said we need to fight corruption. And number 4, we need to intensify our program for cadre development. Based on the 3 dangers and 4 imperatives, the PEC that was elected in Colesberg dedicated all its energy on building unity in the province. The results of that work were on full display during the 9th Provincial Conference that took place in Springbok, as the entirety of the PEC was elected unopposed. When we were in Springbok in 2021, the whole PEC, these comrades who are seated here on stage, were elected unopposed. Top 5 elected unopposed. Additional members elected unopposed. And that was the display of unity within the ranks of the ANC in the province. I don't know whether this conference will break that record. Yeah, the delegates looks very uncertain about this. Comrades, we started in Colesberg, 2017. And we said that we should spare no strength, we should spare neither strength nor energy to build unity in the province. And our first imperative was to build unity, actively working towards building unity in the Northern Cape. And that's what the PEC did. We worked very hard to build unity in the province. And the outcomes of that work were in full display when we went to Springbok Conference, which was our 9th provincial conference, where this leadership collective was elected. The top 5 elected unopposed. Additional members were elected unopposed. That was a historic track record. That track record, that was historic. So the question which I'm asking the delegate is whether are we going to break that record today? All right, we got the response. Despite all the challenges, qualitatively our movement has been gaining strength from one conference to the next. This PEC collective is here to give an account of the work we did over the past 4 years based on the mandate we received during the Springbok 9th Provincial Conference. The declaration of the 9th Provincial Conference reads as follows. As ANC branches and structures gathered at this 9th Provincial Conference, we mandate the newly elected PEC to develop and embark on programs to build a strong, vibrant, and renewed ANC in the Northern Cape. 2017 in Colesberg, the mandate of the PEC was to unite the ANC in the Northern Cape. When we went to Springbok 2021, the call from the ANC branches was that we need a strong, vibrant, and renewed ANC in the Northern Cape, which means we were happy with the levels of unity and the intensity of unity that we managed to build. But now what we need is strong, vibrant, and renewed ANC. Furthermore, the delegate said, we call on the ANC provincial government to vigorously embark on programs to improve the socio-economic profile of the people of the Northern Cape. Based on this, the last conference gave this PEC 2 broad mandates. The first mandate is to consolidate our work to build a strong, vibrant, and renewed ANC. And the second mandate is to use our governing power to improve the quality of life of the people of the Northern Cape. On the first mandate to build a strong and vibrant ANC, the declaration lists several tasks to be undertaken by the PEC. Task number 1 is the need to build a campaigning movement based on the culture of activism and grassroots work. That's the first task, which we received from the last provincial conference, that we need to strengthen grassroots work and the culture of activism within our ranks, not to have paper members and dysfunctional BECs whose work just ends in the boardrooms. We've got BECs that only exist for one thing. It's a BEC meeting and nothing else. And when the BEC meets, the only thing they are discussing is deployment and the municipality. There's no discussions on how to develop political programs with clear campaigns. every time the BEC meets, is deployment coverage and what is happening in the municipality. So the call from our last conference is that we need to strengthen the grassroots work of the movement. The second call was to build strong, active, and functional branches. The third call was to eliminate the use of money in the leadership contest. The fourth call is to build strong, progressive youth alliance. Number 5 is to strengthen the ANC leagues. And number 6, strengthen the alliance in the province. Number 7, ensure financial sustainability and self-sufficiency of the ANC. And number 8, in collaboration with the OR Tambo School of Leadership, roll out structured and political, ideological training programs for both members and leaders. This is the mandate that we received with regard to building the organization from the last conference. On the second mandate, which is governance, the declaration identifies key programs to be undertaken by the PEC, which are visible action to fight the triple burden of underdevelopment, which are high unemployment, poverty, and inequality. Number 2, rollout of infrastructure projects. 3, growing the economy of the province. 4, visible action to improve the quality of public education and public health. 5, wage the war on youth unemployment and lack of training opportunities for young people in the province. 6, urgently introduce measures to address the housing backlogs. 7, visible improvement in the accountability ecosystem. And 8, it's strengthening service delivery capacity of the municipalities. So those are the tasks under the second broad mandate that we got during the last conference. Taking all of this into consideration, there are 2 questions that this PEC collective must respond to in this 10th Provincial Conference. The first question is whether, as the PEC, we manage to consolidate the organizational work to build a strong, vibrant, and renewed ANC. And the second question is whether, as a governing party, we manage to embark on programs to generally improve the quality of life of the people of the Northern Cape. Our principal task is to build a strong and vibrant organization, and key to that is to consolidate organic unity as the foundation of a strong ANC, and not fake unity. Organic unity is true unity. It is revolutionary unity, which is a direct product of strict adherence to internal party discipline. This is about observing principles of democratic decision-making, such as collective leadership and democratic centralism. This is the unity that OR said is a bedrock of our movement. He further called on us to build and maintain unity in our ranks as if our very survival depends on it, because it does. That's what OR says about unity, is that our very survival as the movement depends on unity within our ranks. And this is not false unity, which is a product of factional maneuvering. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. This is not the kind of unity OR was talking about. Fake unity is not durable, as it is a product of political expediency and dispensing of patronage. OR was speaking of organic, revolutionary, and true unity. That's the kind of unity that we must build within our ranks. In the province, we committed ourselves to build organic unity that can withstand our secondary differences. Hence, over the years, we could build a strong, vibrant, and united ANC. The organizational report to the 2022 54th National Conference states that, I quote, Northern Cape is the most united province of the ANC in the country. Close quote. This is not a mistaken assertion. It was correct and true reflection of the state of the organization. There are visible indicators of a vibrant and strong ANC in the Northern Cape. The mature manner we manage local, provincial, and national list processes is an indicator of unity. If you can see what happens in other provinces when they are dealing with list processes, it becomes a chaos. How comrades would fight over that. But we've developed a skill of managing our own internal dynamics, and at all times try to ensure that our differences don't spill over and damage the image of the organization. And how we manage our own list processes. The provincial secretary is here, and some of the NEC members have joined here. Every time before the list gets released, it goes to the National Executive Committee. Every time a list from the Northern Cape is presented to the National Executive Committee, it passes through without any complications because of the manner in which we are managing these processes. Our recent unprecedented performance, winning all by-elections after the 2024 general elections, enabled us to gain control of 3 municipalities that we lost in 2021 local government elections. And that's the demonstration of the unity within our ranks. Opposition parties in the province, they know when there is a by-election, it will be an avalanche. They can't define what comes from the ANC. Ons maak hulle sommer deur mekaar. Ja, hulle raak lelik deur mekaar. Hulle weet nie wat kan hulle verwag van die ANC af nie. We just took 2 words from the DA. They don't know what hit them. Because of the kind of unity that we display, you get volunteers from Pixley, deep in rural areas in Namakwa. Volunteers from Francis Bard, deep in rural areas from Namakwa. We had a by-election in Yenangsvlei. We had volunteers from other regions who descended there to go and fight those by-elections for the ANC. That's the kind of spirit that we need. And that spirit has already found root in the Northern Cape. Number 3, comrades, one of the issues that demonstrates the fact that we've got this vibrant and strong ANC in the Northern Cape is the political prestige of the province nationally. When I speak with my counterparts, provincial chairs of other provinces, they would always say, "Hey, Chief, I hope I was the provincial chair of the Northern Cape." Yes, that's the kind of political prestige that we have gained. We are no longer a Mickey Mouse province. That's not what we are. We are no longer that. We're a serious province that must be taken seriously. And we've gained that political prestige through hard work and by being principled. That's how we gained that political prestige. And also, comrades, what is very much important is the matured management of the cadre deployment. How we are managing deployment of our cadres. This used to be a very contrived issue within the ranks of the movement. It used to define even attitudes of delegates towards conferences. This process is now better managed in a very matured manner. And I think we need to give our regions and the branches a round of applause for the mature management of such a very sensitive process. We just come out of 5 incident-free regional conferences that were convened in peaceful atmosphere with a jovial mood amongst the delegates. All our regional conferences peaceful. There was no throwing of chairs. Daar was niemand wat ek het nou amper Afrika. Karoo Afrikaans gepraat nou. Ja, ek het nou amper Karoo Afrikaans gepraat. Maar daar was nie pa kleierery nie. Ja, daar was nie pa kleierery nie. All of them were peaceful conferences. And the other thing, comrades, which is very much important, is growth in our membership and the number of branches in good standing. For the first time in the Northern Cape, we've got membership which is above 50,000. We've never had membership above 50,000 in the Northern Cape. When Mane was the chair here in the Northern Cape, he had membership of 18,000. 18,000. Tipuo came, membership of about 20,000. Tipuo came. Tipuo came. We'll sort this at home. Yeah, we'll sort this at home. Tipuo came. About 25,000 members, 25,000 members. And when Comrade John was here, 33, 34, 35,000 members. And now we speak of more than 50,000 members in good standing in our province. And comrades, what is also important is that all our leagues are properly constituted. The PC of the leagues, properly constituted. The regions of the leagues, properly constituted, except for the ANC Youth League of JTG. And that regional congress of the ANC Youth League in JTG must take place now, so that we don't have that as an exception. So all our leagues are properly constituted. And comrades, despite some challenges, the tripartite alliance in our province is solid. As the province, we must find a way to contribute to the political discussions within the alliance on how best to manage the recent decision of the SACP to independently contest the 2026 local government elections and other successive elections. This decision poses an unprecedented strategic challenge to the alliance. If this decision is not properly managed, and I heard the provincial secretary of the party also mentioned it, that we need a degree of maturity in approaching this matter. But if it is not properly managed with the requisite political maturity, it is likely to be recorded as a cause of death on the death certificate of the mighty and glorious alliance. That will be a betrayal to our struggle history and our forebears. So this is one of the issues that the delegates will have to engage on during the commissions. The other area that highlights the vibrancy and the strength of this PEC is that during the term of this PEC, we managed to fundraise more than 100 million rand and acquired significant immovable assets for the ANC in the province. The treasurer, I almost said the treasurer general now, the provincial treasurer, Comrade Fufe, is going to elaborate on this. We also, comrade, led the most united provincial delegates to both the 2017 and the 2022 National Conference. There's no province that led delegates which were more united than the delegates of the Northern Cape to the 2017 and 2022 National Conference. Not just united, but disciplined delegates. We never have delegates of the Northern Cape getting into corners, having discussions on issues of leadership. The province took a decision that the PEC must manage these discussions. And we did that on behalf of the branches and the regions in the province. We would come back and give feedback and get asked the difficult questions. But all branches in the movement and all delegates they stuck to that discipline, that we've got a leadership that we have mandated to handle this matter on behalf of the branches. So we are very thankful for that kind of discipline. There is no province that can claim to have been united more than the Northern Cape province, in both provinces, in both conferences. And also, comrades, which is last, on what we have done to ensure that we build a vibrant and a strong African National Congress, is the coherent provincial government that does not fall prey to political opportunism engineered by factions. The first target of factions is government, because they want to loot. That's their first target. And this provincial government and the majority of our municipalities did not fall victim to that. On the governance front, we can report that despite the many socio-economic challenges confronting the people in the province, we made significant strides to improve the quality of life of the people of the Northern Cape. All development indicators about the Northern Cape point to a positive trajectory. Very importantly is the 2023 Human Development Index score for the Northern Cape, which was at 0.705. This placed the Northern Cape in the high human development category, with provinces such as the Western Cape, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and Mpumalanga. While our HDI increased from 0.63 in 2020 to 0.705 in 2022, it is still lower than the national average, which is 0.72. An HDI score of above 0.7 means that the province generally offers decent standard of living, good educational opportunities, and access to quality health, resulting in higher average life expectancy. Despite the massive challenges on service delivery front, there has been great progress recorded over the past few years on a number of fronts. I just want to highlight a few of them. The proportion of households with formal dwellings in the province has increased from 78% to 85%. The proportion of households with access on on-site piped water increased from 74% to 82%. And the proportion of households who have access to the grid, electricity grid, increased from 64% to 92%. And the proportion of households in the province that have access to flush toilets increased from 52% to 73%. Currently in the country, we are the province with the highest proportion of households with access to flush toilets. And the proportion of households who experience removal of refuse once a week have increased from 60% to 67%. And household access to internet from anywhere in the province have increased from 66% to 82%. In terms of land redistribution, a total of 4 billion has been spent, which involves about 2.3 million hectares of land to about 200,000 beneficiaries. All of these things happened here in the Northern Cape. These are development indicators. All of them, they are on a positive trajectory. And I think it was Comrade Gwen, the TG, who raised the issue that why is it that the electorate don't know about these things? And the electorate don't know about these things because of our capacity to communicate. The current social media platforms which are there strengthens the capacity of each and every ANC member to be a communicator. We don't communicate about our achievements. That's what we don't do. The only thing we communicate is about negative things which are happening. I'm not saying that comrades should not communicate about negative things which are happening, but it's also important for us to start communicating about positive things which are happening. We need to come up with a disruptive narrative because there is a negative narrative about the movement. And in order to disrupt that narrative, it's a responsibility that rests with each and every ANC member who's got a gadget. You can use that gadget to strengthen our positive message. If we don't do that, nobody will do it on our behalf. So those are some of the achievements, comrades, that we've managed to record. And I think it's also important to emphasize these few achievements that we've made during the term of this Provincial Executive Committee. We saw growth in the gross domestic product of the province from 117 billion to 152 billion, which is about 35 billion rand in growth to the GDP of the province. And for all 4 quarters of last year, we saw increase in the number of people who are employed in the province. All 4 quarters. And we are amongst the few provinces in the country that could create jobs for all 4 quarters of 2024. That's the reason why we are a province with the second lowest unemployment in the country. Over the past 5 years, we have seen a steady growth of our grade 12 results. Comrade Mane made a reference here that when he was the Premier of the Northern Cape, we've always been number 1 in terms of the grade 12 results. The first province to break the artificial glass ceiling of 90%, it was the Northern Cape. We had 92% pass rate, and the year thereafter we had 93% pass rate. We did that. We were leading this province. And there were serious regression that took place, and we are working very hard in order to improve the quality of public education in the province. And I think it's very much important to mention it to the comrades and delegates here in this conference, that in 2020, Northern Cape got 66% pass rate, and Gauteng got 89% pass rate, and it was number 1. So the difference between us and Gauteng was 23%. The difference between the Northern Cape as province number 9 and Gauteng as province number 1, it was 23%. With the results that we got last year, 2024, Northern Cape got 84% and province number 1 got 91%. So we managed to narrow the difference between Northern Cape and the number 1 province from 23% to 7%. I think we need to give our teachers and our comrades who are working in the Department of Education a nice round of applause for the work that they've been doing over the past 5 years. Over the past 5 years, we've never experienced regression, not on a single year. It moved from 66 to 69, 72, 77, and we are standing at 84 now. So for this year, we've got much bigger targets that we've set for ourselves. What is also important, comrades, is that the significant achievements that we have made on the health front, there's also significant achievements that we have made in terms of rollout of socio-economic infrastructure in the province. 25 billion rand rollout of infrastructure took place over the past 4 years. 90 new state-of-the-art schools. I can ask you to raise your hands now where there's a new school in your area. I'm sure half of the delegates here will raise their hands. 11 new clinics, libraries, and roads that were built out of this serious rollout of infrastructure. And I think what is more important is the program that we launched in Seperepere, which is the 2.5 billion budget facility for infrastructure to improve the bulk water infrastructure capacity of Seperepere municipality. Seperepere, which is our capital town. That's our capital town where we are in Kimberley. Things are starting to turn for the good. I think the work that the comrades are doing here in Seperepere, we need to support them. We need to support them. We can't afford to lose this municipality. We can lose Seperepere municipality. But we can't afford to lose Seperepere municipality. I hear Katazile saying, no, no, no. We can live with the pain, comrades, of losing Seperepere municipality, but not Seperepere. I think we should agree to that. We should agree to. So we should go all out. We should go all out to defend the movement here. Basically, it's the strategy of the opposition, and particularly the DA, to strip us out of control of your capital town, your metros. This is a secondary city, Seperepere. So their strategy first, get the metro away. Isn't it that's what they did in the Western Cape? We first started by losing the Cape Metro. And then Helen Zille became the mayor there. They used that as a base to launch their campaign for the province. And we lost the province. If you read their strategy with the 2021 elections, they said they wanted to create a strategic Cape belt. I don't know how many of you spend time to go through the documents of the opposition parties. One of their key strategies, 4 elements, 4 pillars of their strategy for 2021 local government elections was the creation of the Cape Belt. And that Cape Belt is consolidating their support in the Western Cape, winning strategic municipalities in the Northern Cape, and winning PE municipality, Nelson Mandela. That's the Cape Belt. Consolidate Western Cape, win strategic municipalities in the Northern Cape, and winning PE. That's their, what they call as their strategic Cape Belt. And our responsibility is to close ranks and ensure that does not happen. That's our responsibility. So we'll have to do everything possible to defend this municipality. We can't lose the only secondary city that we have as the province. So there is much greater responsibility on Comrade Tipuo and Comrade Barbara, the Regional Executive Committee, to develop a strategy on how best are we going to ensure that we rescue and we defend our electoral support here in Seperepere municipality. So, comrades, Deputy Chair, we are now a 49.3% political party in the province. Just 2,400 votes away from 50%. I don't know how many of you comrades know that. We are just 2,400 votes away from 50%. So if in your ward and in your VD, you just pushed a little bit more stronger, we could have been a 50% plus party. We are now standing at 2.3. We are now standing at 49.3. Just 2,400 votes away from 50%. We acquired more than 50% only in 2 of the 5 regions, which is John Taologaetsi, where we are standing at 58%, and Pixley-Kaseme, we are standing at 52%. So out of the 5 regions, only 2 managed to surge above 50%. JTG, which is our stronghold in the province, and Pixley-Kaseme, which is standing at 52%. We lost Francis Bart region with 48%. We lost ZF Mkawu with 46%. And we lost Namakwa with 42%. We lost the two biggest municipalities in the province, Solplaatje and David-Creeper municipalities. A very low voter turnout during the 2024 general elections turned into a bloodbath for the ANC in the province. This trend of low voter turnout, accompanied by poor performance of ANC, started in 2009 general elections. Since, the ANC has been shedding votes in the province and the country. National, we are now a 40% party. That is what we are. In the Northern Cape, we are now a 49.3% party. When Comrade Mane was the chair here, he took us to 69%. 69%. And I can still remember Comrade Tipu was heading elections in Pixley with a team of about pigs there. We had regional conveners who were responsible for convening regions during elections. We would sit in a meeting up until wee hours of the morning, fighting. Yes, we used to fight. Not a small fight, a big fight. It's like a moer-mekaar thing here. Yes, that's how it used to be. Ask Comrade Tipu. Ask her. It was a moer-mekaar thing. Up until early hours of the morning. We knew if PEC deployees are coming, posters must be up. Volunteers must be on the ground. There should be work that is taking place. Now an NEC deployee arrives in a branch, nothing is happening. An NEC deployee must activate the branch structure and give a report. Hey, you guys said there's an elected PEC here? Yes. Hey, I got here, but nothing is happening here. A PEC must remind a branch that there's no posters in your area. But as branch leadership, you wake up every day here in this area. You wake up every day. So we just need to change our attitude to our work. I think that's what we need to do. We just need to change our attitude towards our work. That's what we need to do. She used to fight with Jack and Sokaja there. She must give you the stories. Ugly stories. She used to fight with them. Those were the regional leaders then. They used to fight with them. So we just need to change our attitude towards how we do our work and how we execute our elections campaign. So, comrades, we are gathered here at this 10th Provincial Conference as a battered organization. The survey conducted by the ANC amongst its stronghold supporters highlights that they withheld their support because they have lost confidence in the movement due to the following factors. Our supporters are saying in terms of this research, opinion poll, we decided not to go and vote. The 7 million supporters who did not go out and vote. They said, we decided not to go and vote because of these following factors. Number one, they say self-serving leadership. We are corrupt. Now the word corruption is synonymous with an ANC member. People come to accept it. When you speak of corruption, the next face that you will see is somebody in black, green, and gold. And we are losing the battle against that narrative. And our members come to accept it now, that we are self-serving leaders. We are self-serving members. And what exacerbates this is these small things that we do where we are. If you're a branch chairperson, there's an opportunity in the municipality. Jou neef moet inkom, jou neef se kind moet inkom. As dit nie jou neef se kind nie, dis jou broer wat moet inkom. So all those things create this perception. All of them. It's not the big corruption cases that creates the perception. It's small things in our municipalities. It's small things in the provincial government. When there's a tender opportunity that is there, because I'm the branch chair, the mayor must be called in. A friend of mine must get this opportunity. So it's these small things that creates this big mountain of perception against us. The second thing, which these are our supporters who are raising this thing. It's not people who don't vote for us, it's people who vote for us, who says, I did not go and vote. But why? Because of corruption. You guys are self-serving. You look after your pockets. You've forgotten about us. The second issue which they are raising is divisions within our ranks. They say, but how can we vote for a squabbling party? Every time we hear about you guys is when you are fighting. Now there's an issue that the car of the deputy president was shorted. Every South African is jumping to a conclusion. It's 2027, comrades. 2020. And we come to accept it as well. That is 2027. Because of the levels of divisions within our ranks. Who can, in his right mind, go out and want to kill a deputy president of the ANC for a 40% party? 40% party. Deputy president were not killed when we were having 70% here. And we come to believe those things, that it's because of this. Because of the levels of division within our ranks. So, comrades, if we want to attract our supporters who decided not to go and vote for us, we must project to them a strong and united African National Congress. That's what we must project to them. When they sit back and look at the movement, they must derive a sense of pride for their support for the ANC. And this is what should inform the attitude of the Northern Cape as we go towards 2027. We don't want to be part and parcel of divisions that will drag the ANC in 2029 to below 40% of the votes. Those who want to be part of the divisions, they won't find space here in the Northern Cape. The other thing, comrades, which our own supporters have raised is political arrogance. They say, you people are arrogant. There's a stage when South Africans were complaining, saying we are taking them for granted. We call a pool, a swimming pool, a fire pool. South Africans are saying, but hey, man, this is a swimming pool. We say, no, it's not a swimming pool, it's a fire pool, this one. Yes, that's what we did. I addressed so many platforms to try and explain this is a fire pool, and I was asked, can you explain the difference between a fire pool and a swimming pool? Because we took South Africans for granted. We took South Africans for granted. And that was because of political arrogance. We think that because it's said by the ANC, people will accept it. Mensen from Maruka nye fire pool at wat trappies het. Die fire pool at trappies. Wat doen jy met die trappies in a fire pool? But we managed to find a way of explaining that. So our own support base say, we can't engage intelligibly with you guys because you are arrogant. But this arrogance also finds manifestation in our branches. This arrogance finds manifestation in our regions and as well as in our province. Now you are elected as a regional chair. When these comrades get elected you and the branches nominated you, your school size gave us a size 8. Now you got elected as the regional chair. All of a sudden now demand trek aan size 11 nou die voet is net so groot. Die mense wat jou genomineer het en vir jou gestem, hulle kan eintlik nie sien dat die is nou jou voetspore. Want die voet is net so groot. Die voet is groot hier. It was size 8. We get to Namakwa, people say, you know, the regional chair we elected here, it was size 8. No, die man se voetspore is net so groot. Ons weet nie wat gaan aan met die man nie, man. It's part of political arrogance. So our attitude towards power, it's a problem. It's a general problem. Our attitude as ANC members and leaders towards power, it's a problem. We don't use power as an instrument to improve the quality of lives of those who have elected us. But we want to deploy this power against them. So if we don't address that, we are not going to be able to get this support base back. And the other issue, comrades, which was raised is poor service delivery. And one of the issues that we consistently raise is that our municipalities are a weak link in the chain of social transformation. Serious weak link in the chain of social transformation. I wanted to look very smart in one social media post. I passed a water burst in Kimberley. I phoned the call center. Couldn't get anybody. I phoned the mayor. The mayor said, no, I'll send people there. When I was driving back home, people were standing there fixing this thing. So I took pictures, put it on social media, and said, this municipality is responsive. In less than 30 minutes, there's a team that is fixing this water burst. So I got a whole lot of invitations. Please come to my street. Yes, please come to my street. Here, there's a water burst here. It's been here for a month. Come to my street, there's a water burst here. It's been here for the past 2 years. I got calls from Rodepan. Come here, there's sewer inside my house. Ek is eintlik nog siek, ek het 'n borsiekte deur die sewer hier in my huis. Ons sien waar jy getrap het, miracles are happening. Yeah, that's what people are calling it. There's miracles that are happening where you go. So bring those miracles here in our streets. So our response to some of these issues, comrades, they create a very bad impression to our support base. But the other issue which has been raised is the issue of crime. We, as the African National Congress, need to mobilize communities around issues of crime. And particularly, this is one simple campaign that an ANC branch can take up. Simple campaign that an ANC branch can take up. So these are issues which are raised by our supporters. I'm not saying people who did not vote. People who've been voting for us all the years. They say, here are the issues that kept us away from voting for you. So, comrades, to respond to vote shedding, the 2022 54th National Conference called for radical enhancement of the integrity of the organization through renewal. Renewal of the ANC is one of the key mandates. Repositioning our movement through renewal to tackle weaknesses in its mass-based character and make it fit for modern-day struggles will not be for free. That's what the past 3 conferences called for. Renew the movement. in order to stop the vote shedding. And I think what is important here, and I want to raise with this 10th Provincial Conference, is that renewing the ANC won't be for free. Because there is no real renewal that is for free. We'll have to pay a price for that. In 1978, Indira Gandhi, who was the leader of the Indian Congress, had this to say about renewal. She says, renewal is not for free. There is always a price to pay. As those who are used to old wrong habits will oppose it. The price to pay is courage to endure pain and sometimes utter chaos. That's what she said. That's the price we should be prepared to pay. That is pain and utter chaos sometimes. As part of the renewal program, there was a stage when we were without a Secretary General, which actually introduced utter chaos within our ranks. You sit in the NEC, you realize the NEC does not know how to deal with this because it's unprecedented, it's happening for the first time. So renewal is not for free. There's a price that we must pay. We are in a process of self-correction, and that strikes fear in the hearts of many people. We need to sustain the momentum of renewal with courage that rises with danger. That's what Indira Gandhi said. When we are confronted by the difficulties of renewal, we should not pull back. We should have the courage that rises with danger to ensure that we pull through and ensure that we renew our organization. Comrade Chair, the re-election of Donald Trump as the US President has significant implications for global politics, particularly for developing economies like South Africa. His leadership style is regarded as highly unpredictable. This deepens global instability and it also heightens tensions. His America First policies raise concerns about the future of US commitments to Africa, with some fearing that the US Make America Great Again, what they call as MAGA strategy, might outweigh aid and trade objectives with developing economies. This unpredictability could affect global issues like climate change, peacemaking, and some health initiatives. African leaders have mixed responses to this development, with some extending some congratulations with hopes of continued cooperation. However, others remain careful due to experiences under Trump's previous administration. Our economy and diplomatic relations with the US are adversely affected by Trump's attitude towards our country, and all of this is due to negative lobby by right-wing white groups like AfriForum and Solidarity. The primary objective of these groups is to preserve white privileges in our country and are opposed to all transformative endeavors such as the Bella Act, NHI, and expropriation of land without compensation. The Trump administration is also agonizing about the ANC government decision to take Israel's settler state to the International Court of Justice, alleging that Israel committed and continues to commit genocide against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. This case is ongoing and there were several positive rulings by the court in favor of South Africa, such as the decision of the court to order Israel to halt Rafah offensive. The US is an accomplice in the murder and slaughter of more than 45,000 Palestinians, including innocent women and children. It is a significant supplier of arms to Israel, such as aircrafts, artillery, tanks, drones, and missiles. All the Caterpillar D9 armored bulldozers, which Israel is using to demolish roads and residential properties of Palestinians, are all made in the US. In the face of this injustice and genocide, The ANC cannot remain silent because of fear of reprisal. As the ANC, we strive for world peace and justice, and we characterize ourselves as a disciplined force of the left and an anti-imperialist movement. We are not a confused party. We are a principled party. Our leaders must develop approaches on how best to mitigate the economic and political impact of this nostalgic rogue imperialist power on our economy. The President is correct in his assertion that we are not going to be bullied by anyone, whether from the East or from the West. Our solidarity with the Palestinian people remains unshaken. Comrades, we should wake up from the slumber and appreciate the seismic shifts towards multipolarity. With several emerging powers challenging the traditional dominance of the United States. This means that the future of global politics will involve a complex interplay between established and emerging superpowers. This shift is driven by various factors. One of those factors is the rise of emerging powers, countries like China, India, Brazil, and others are increasingly asserting their influence on the global stage. That's currently what is happening now. China increasing its influence, India as well starting to increase its influence, and Brazil. The other important shift is global economic shifts. The global economy is becoming more decentralized, with emerging markets playing a larger role, like the developing economies, which are starting to play a very large and significant role in the global economy. In actual fact, these are the drivers of global growth. And the last factor is technological advancements. New technologies are enabling countries to leapfrog traditionally from power structures. The current multipolar trend suggests that there is already a decline in US unilateralism as other powers are gaining more influence. This shift will lead towards multilateral cooperation and diplomacy. So as the country, we must adopt a long-term view on global politics, as the antics and erratic decisions of Trump administration will cause chaos in the global supply chain and is likely to bring recession in the global economy. These crazy increases, comrades, in reciprocal tariffs are not sustainable and are starting to hurt the US economy. US economy is starting to feel the pressure of these reciprocal tariffs which have been introduced by Trump. As I conclude, Deputy Chair, in our last provincial conference, I invited all delegates to take to heart the words of Ho Chi Minh in his selected writings on his reflections on revolutionary morality. Uncle Ho, as he was affectionately known, was the president of Vietnam, and during the Vietnam War, and the leader of the Vietnamese revolutionary movements. He asserts that, as I quote, a revolutionary must have a solid foundation of revolutionary morality in order to fulfill his glorious revolutionary tasks. I just want to repeat this. He says a revolutionary must have a solid foundation of revolutionary morality in order to fulfill his glorious revolutionary task. The worst and the most dangerous vestige in any organization is individualism. Individualism is very deceitful. It skillfully induces one to backslide. In brief, that's what he says, Revolutionary morality consists of the following traits. Trait number 1, to devote one's life to struggling for the party and the revolution. This is the most essential point. That's what he says. And trait number 2, to work for the party, observe party discipline, and implement party lines and policies. And trait number 3, to put the interest of the people and the party before and above one's own interest. And number 4, he says revolutionary morality, it's about to serve the people wholeheartedly. And number 5, he says it's to struggle selflessly and be exemplary in every respect. And number 6, he says revolutionary morality is about to show a show of honesty, thrift, integrity, uprightness, and total dedication in conducting duties of the public office. Those are the 6 traits of revolutionary morality that Uncle Ho, who was the leader of the Vietnamese revolutionary movement, highlighted. And I hope as we engage and as we leave this conference venue on Thursday, this will assist to shape our perspective on what we think about our responsibilities as elected leaders and members of the ANC. As the PEC, we wish that in your deliberations, you will take policy decisions that will propel our movement forward, and that you will elect a leadership collective that will uphold the values of unity and hard work. With the difficult struggles ahead, this province needs leaders that are hardworking with unquestionable commitment to the organization and the people of the Northern Cape. Amandla!
Thank you, Chair. Can we give the Chair another round of applause, comrades? Thank you very much. That was a very powerful political overview. Comrades, we are going to move to deal with the credentials. The Provincial Deputy Secretary and his team is ready to present credentials so that we can get an indication in terms of where the register for this conference, and then we'll open for reflections and discussions on the credentials. Over to you, Comrade Deputy Provincial Secretary. All right. To the media, it's a closed session now.